So, Vince McMahon finally made the announcement. The XFL is coming back in 2020. So, there's 2 years between now and the start of the XFL. Many people are laughing, saying it can't work, and all this other stuff. But did you ever take the time to think that it can be successful? The only issue is he cannot try to go against the NFL. I mean, the NFL's just the big dog in the room at the moment. Leave them alone. There is plenty of space for other things. Yeah, let me try that again. There is plenty of space for other leagues. Now, the USFL failed because they went against the NFL. That was Trump's attempt to get into the NFL, and which is probably why he's so against the NFL now. He's in a position of power where he can talk down to them and whatever else. There was another league, but I can't think of the name right now. Okay. Skip that one. And then there was the NFL in London. It worked for a while. You got James Harrison from there and who knows whoever else. But it's a country that doesn't really have football, so I don't know how to weigh the pros, cons, and if it was a success or not. Then you have the CFL. The CFL has been around for a long time. And it's another country, but look at how many players came from there. Warren Moon, for example. Kurt Warner is another one that was there. I mean, there are other areas where this thing can work. Arena football, that's another league that's still working and successful because they don't try to go against the NFL. Now, let's look at it from a baseball perspective. How many of you know about the independent minor leagues? If you look at those, they're minor league teams independent of the affiliated teams, separate owners, and they have their own set of rules and all that. But minor and major league players have gone through there to try and get their shot again in the majors. So it has worked. The system works. It's just how you go about doing it. For example, this league can run in the spring. That won't work here in the Northeast because here in the Northeast, it's baseball once the spring comes. Other areas, it can work. For example, college football. In the South, when they're having spring practice, you can sell out a stadium. So, if you look at it, there are ways of doing this. It just has to be done right. Here's how I see it happening. San Diego, Oakland, and St. Louis all have stadiums that are open. That's 3 teams right there. Find another team in the Midwest to pair with St. Louis, and then find 2 cities in the South. Texas, Alabama, Florida, anywhere down there. You don't even need 2 teams in the Northeast at this point. Then what you do, run those 6 teams, have 10 games, whatever it is, and you can expand later, but make those few teams successful. You have cities that lost football teams, so they may be clamoring for more football. Like, you can't use Las Vegas anymore because now they're getting a team in the NFL. But all these other cities, it can work. That's how independent baseball works. Go into cities that are underserved by the majors or the minors. They aren't as big as the other cities, but it can still work. And who knows, maybe over time you'll have someone building stadiums, although smaller than the ones that are out there. And I can, hey, Vince McMahon, if you need someone to help out, call me. I mean, I actually tried to start an independent baseball league, went through a lot of the hoops you had to jump through. I do know some knowledge. I mean, I'm not looking for a job or anything, but I can give advice. Just like everyone else, he asked for people to give advice, and this is mine. I mean, how many people are you planning to have at the games? That's another one. Gotta make sure that whatever salary there is, there's a break even point. Sure, you can take out $100 million to start the league, but you don't need $100 million right away, do you? I mean, I doubt he's gonna put it on the WWE network, though he can simulcast it or whatever. But I'm sure he's gonna go find a deal. He can probably get one because he's Vince McMahon. In terms of players, there are some quarterbacks out there who can give you a fast start. RG3, for example. Vince Young keeps trying. And Vince Young just got a raw deal because he's a winning quarterback. He's unorthodox and you have to change your whole scheme, but he's a winning player. And throw out this rule about no criminal record. Unfortunately, some of the best football players do have a record. Just change it to where if you're like an Aaron Hernandez, you're not getting the big contract, you're not in the league. But if you just have, I don't know, DWI or something, for example, you can still be in the league, but maybe you get a suspension. Because right now, that would eliminate a player like Baker Mayfield from this current draft. Let's say he goes undrafted and you need a player. He would be a great quarterback to throw into the league. It gives you notoriety, but have a salary cap. Those quarterbacks who come back, maybe the most they can make is $1 million. You know, make it like a minor league, not like you're trying to compete with the NFL. I mean, you can always go get a player like Mike Vick, Terrell Owens, and all those others who may be older in terms of the NFL, but they can still run. They can still get out there and do it. Even Jerry Rice is talking about a comeback with the Raiders. So, they want to. It doesn't mean they can or they'll be good, but they want to. This is a way to get some name recognition for the league. And as you know, most people gravitate towards names. So it can work. It may not be successful in terms of the NFL, but if you can make it popular enough, you can get a little, somewhat of a minor league system going. But do something like the CFL, where if someone plays, they have to play at least 2 years before they can go to the NFL or whatever the case may be. What else would there be? I don't know about the whole making the game shorter into a 2-hour game, but it can work. Just like Arena Football, CFL, and others have their rules. Make 10-minute quarters or something else. Don't eliminate halftime. Halftime just seems like, who cares? I mean, you're not going to have a big halftime anyway. That's getting sponsored and all that. But don't eliminate it because players need rest. Maybe make it 10 minutes or whatever it is. And at the end of the season with the 6 teams, if you start out with 6, maybe make it so that all 6 are in the playoffs. Now, I know that dilutes the system, but for now, it's just a way to start. And then when you get to 8 teams, you'll have 4 in each division. You can have the two best teams from each division play and make it kind of like this BCS stuff. I hate the BCS, but if you're going to have uh, an abbreviated playoff system, might as well go for that. And then when you expand to 12 or 16, you can have wild cards, you can do all those things. I mean, independent baseball is a perfect example of this system working. It's just a mindset. Don't try to go against the NFL. Try to be something totally different. And that's where you're going to fit in. Unfortunately, I just don't know if it's going to work because Vince McMahon has to do everything big. And if I had the money, I would want to also. So I can't really argue that fact. But he can have Jim Ross and others calling games like he did before with the XFL. But also make it real where it's not like it's wrestling on a field. You know, no more of the cheerleader cameras or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you can have cheerleaders, but don't have them be a major focus. I mean, even if you look at it, the XFL is the reason that the NFL has a sky cam now. Come up with different things that can differentiate your league from the NFL. And then maybe even get trademarks or whatever on some of the ideas just in case it goes into the NFL. What else? I mean, I can't think of anything else right now. But to me, it just depends on how you see success. Vince McMahon took out $100 million of his own money to get this going. So he obviously has some plan, but $100 million is much more than enough. Say you cap the salary of a team at, I don't know, actually. I have to think about it and break it down. But you're probably not going to carry 53 players. Maybe 40 players. Making, I don't know, 50,000 each. I don't know. Whatever the number is, you're probably looking at, say, a $5 million salary cap. Maybe the quarterback makes 500,000 at the max level or whatever it is. Make it a structured salary cap. Because the way it is in the NFL, it's just crazy. No one needs that much money. And if you're making that much money, you should be able to invest it and make it grow. Not going broke like Jamarcus Russell and all those others. But anyway, structured salary cap. Start with the 3 cities that already have stadiums, and then get 3 in the South. I mean, even the college football stadiums can work because they make them to hold 100,000. So, or maybe even use NFL places because I know Vince McMahon talks to people like Jerry Jones, Arthur Blank, and whoever else. So maybe do that. Whatever it is, it can work, just it would be a different level of success than you're thinking. So, yeah, I can't think of anything else on the subject, but I do think it can work, just not like an NFL. That's where I think people are trashing it right now, thinking that he's trying to compete with the NFL. If he does that, it's bound to fail. But if he goes the other route, it can be successful. Successful enough that it can sustain itself. So Vince McMahon, hey, if you ever hear this, give me a call. Anyway, this is Kill Switch, signing off.